A question I get asked a lot is how many hard drives do I need to hold the P2 card footage for my film? Well, first you'll need to determine the format and frame rate that you'll be shooting at. An example is if you're shooting in the format DVC Pro HD and your frame rate is 720 23.98 PN, N stands for native, which technically when you're on set it's just called 720 24 PN. If you have a 16 gigabyte card, at that format and frame rate, you're going to get 40 minutes worth of footage on that card. Where if you were to stay in the same format of DVC Pro HD, but switch from 720 24 PN to a frame rate of 1080 24 PN, then the amount of time you're going to capture footage-wise on that card goes down to 16 minutes. So if you have a 32 gigabyte card, you're going to get 32 minutes. After determining your format and frame rate, you can calculate the amount of hard drive space needed for your footage. A basic of a film script is that one page equals approximately 1 minute of screen time. So you would guess from that for a 120 page script, you would need a hard drive, or you would need the hard drive space of 120 gigabytes. Well, that's not going to be enough for you. And you have to remember that when you're filming, there's pre-roll and post-roll. Meaning, each take, footage is captured before action is called and after cut is called. And it's also rare that only one take would be taken of a scene. Even if the first take is great, a second take is captured just for safety. And it's that additional captured footage that is a factor as to why 120 gigabytes will not be enough space for your feature, or hard drive space to hold your feature. But that's not all. You need to also consider the safety of your footage. And by that I mean, if something happens to the only hard drive that you've downloaded your footage onto, then you've most likely lost your movie and you have lost your money. Not a good thing. So I always say that you need to put your footage on a minimum of 2 hard drives, and I strongly recommend 3. And you may think that 3 is overkill, but I don't think so. If you're on set and you have 3 hard drives and 1 fails, you still have 2 to which you can download your footage to, 1, and use the other as a backup, and you will not hold up the shooting process because the camera operator is waiting for an empty P2 card from you. So there's a positive to having 3. I also suggest splitting up the hard drives at the end of the day, because if you take all 3 of them or 2 of them in the same car and there's an accident, then your hard drives may be damaged and you may lose your movie. And if you split up your hard drives, you could do that by sending 1 home with the producer, 1 home with the data asset manager, and having 1 delivered to your editor. And that way your movie is going to have a much better chance of surviving the unforeseen. And also, by sending it out to those 3 different places, it will usually ensure that you have at least 2 hard drives back on set the next morning. I say 2 because usually the drive that went to the editor doesn't arrive on set first thing in the morning. It comes later in the morning or even the afternoon. Okay, so you may think that that's a lot of information, but when it comes down to it, it's all doable. From my experience on set, a feature conservatively shot in the format of DVC Pro HD and with the frame rate of 720 24 PN will produce just over 320 gigabytes of footage. So that would mean that would require 3 hard drives that could hold more than 320 gigabytes of footage. Okay, I hope that all makes sense and that you can now figure out how many hard drives to get to hold your footage. So, good luck filming.